Well, I accidentally hit the start button way before I was ready, but that's okay. Let's let that roll. Let's have a little fun before everybody gets here. The early birds only party. What you're looking at right there, that's the backside of a trime. That is this little baby right here. Oops. Well, I'll get that later because we got it right here on the screen. I did want to talk about this for a minute or two. This one is from, I believe, 1852. Yes. It says there at the bottom, 1852. I'm going to put that on. And that is the front of what it was called a trime. It was a 3-cent piece. It is 26% lighter than a dime, and it is 26% smaller in diameter. It's only about as thick as 3 sheets of paper, and that would be including the raised area. And it was invented for the post office because the post office originally came up at 2 cents, quickly went to 3 cents, quickly went to 5 cents, and then or 6 cents, and then went back down to 3 cents. Yeah, it was 6 cents. How was it? So you can use 2 trimes to send a letter. So 2 cents, the trime didn't exist. That was before 1952. 1951 rolls around, and the post office decides to make a special coin just for people who want to mail letters, and that was the trime. So you can go in with 1 trime and mail a letter anywhere in the United States in 1951. So 1951 through 1953, this coin, the one that I have here, this is the one I own. Hello, Killer Fuzz. That coin was 75% silver, and then in 1854, the coin went to 90% silver, and the coin was only made until I think 1882. And when it comes to coins, this is one of the earliest versions. It's 1 year after they started making it, and it is in very fine condition. That's what it was graded at. It's in a little plastic holder, which means that a third party, has graded this coin. And although it is very old and it is in very good condition, it's only worth about $30. And next week we're going to be talking to not much. We're talking a little bit about what's coming up next week. Some point next week, I'm sitting down with JT Coin Rings, who you can contact directly on Instagram and tell him I sent you. Just the first sentence said, "Red sent me." And then he'll talk to you. He'll quicker. He's a third shifter like me. He's a single dad like me. He's a dad. He's a girl dad like me. He thinks like a girl dad. Like if me and JT Coin Rings were walking down the road, and at 9 a.m. in a university town, and some girl, scantily clad woman holding her shoes was walking out of a fraternity house doing the walk in shame, me and JT would go there and cover her up. We wouldn't sit there and go, "Oh, what kind of night did you have last night?" We'd go cover her up. That's what a girl dad does. So JT Coin Rings is going to be on next week. Let me tell you this. If you need a gift, I wish I would have downloaded the photo of my daughter's coin ring, which she loves. And she wore the thing literally for the first 3.5, 4 months. Never took it off her finger. You know how girls change their jewelry. It's still one of her favorite rings. And it's very personalized. And you can very personalize a ring handmade by JT. It's way too cheap. He still hasn't run it. I've known him 10 years and he hasn't raised his prices. I'm like, JT, if you put these things at $200 each, people are going to be buying them. But at $50, not including shipping, if you're providing the coin, it's way too cheap. People want to spend more money on their spouse. Even though he literally put 14 hours into my ring because there was a problem with it, because it was 60% and it was an odd size. It was from another country. And so it wasn't as malleable and shapeable. He had problems in that category because it was way less silver. There was too much of a mix of metal. But when it comes, the problem he overcame. But it wasn't like taking an American $50 or quarter, which fits on a woman's ring beautifully and looks dainty. I got my daughter a 2007 ring from her favorite state that she's ever visited. So she's got a Utah state, and around the rim, it has the two trains facing each other on a track. You could see that beautifully. You could see the year beautifully. And so it means a lot to my daughter. It's the year she was born, and it's her favorite place on earth. And you could do that with your grandmother. There's a coin out there. If your grandmother was born in 1920, really cheap, tens, dozens, like $100 cheaper than you think you can get your hand on a coin from 1928 to make your grandma a ring or your grandpa a ring. 1940s, easy. If JT has to shop the coin, you're going to pay for the price of the coin, the price it cost him to get it shipped to him, probably like 30%. And he does all the work for you. I don't know what the markup is. There probably isn't a markup. I'm going to talk him into doing a markup. But if you're smart and if you're smart on your Christmas list and you want to get something special, or you can't think of anything, I'm telling you, if you got a Patriot that you're buying for, get them a coin ring. It doesn't matter if they were born yesterday or if they were born 100 years ago. There is a silver version of that coin. Even if it's a quarter that just came out this year, you could find an actual government minted silver version of it. Then JT takes the silver version and he turns it into a ring at whatever size you want it done at. We're going to be talking to JT. And the reason why I put that ring up is because when Wyatt Earp was 13 years old, this coin that you're looking at went into circulation. And I have been doing a lot of studying on Wyatt Earp, and it's getting interesting. I can't believe how deep the problems were. The OK Corral was just one incident of a string of crazy incidents. But I'm going to give you a teaser. JT Coin Rings was not with Wyatt Earp. Wyatt Earp and JT Coin Rings, okay, they were marshals. That means that the sheriff paid them money to go take care of problems. He wasn't a sheriff. He was a marshal. He really didn't have much jurisdiction except for arresting or beating the hell out of people, fugitives that had paperwork to be arrested. So if a judge or it seems like possibly a politician wanted to get an arrest warrant for somebody, he would take care of it. And the sheriff would pay him to do it. So the sheriff didn't have to do anything. But the word cowboy, Wyatt Earp was not a cowboy. Cowboy was kind of a dirty word. And at least in the westerns, in the Arizona and California regions of America at the time, cowboy meant that you were like a gangbanger. You were a modern day gangster. You were, an Italian mobster type. And the way you were identified was on your cowboy hat, the rim, the band around your brim or above your brim was snakeskin. And Wyatt Earp had a real long problem with a guy named Ike. And this whole thing started, I'm not going deep into it, we'll get into other stuff, but this whole thing with Wyatt Earp and the OK Corral and Doc Holliday, it all started on a bank robbery. Here's the teaser. Tombstone, Arizona was an extremely wealthy town. It attracted wealthy people. The mountains there were said to be hundreds of thousands of metric tons of silver in the mountains outside of Tombstone, Arizona. And if you go there today, you're going to find metric tons if you could legally blow it up. But you could still dig around, and especially in the water. The silver and the gold on Earth always come from the same place because they're pushed up through the same veins. It doesn't matter how much time passed. If you found a lot of gold or a lot of silver on a mountain or in a stream next to a mountain, most likely, at any time in history, it's always going to be producing, but people don't think that way. People don't understand that that mountain that was kicking out all that gold back in the 1800s, it's not emptied. It keeps getting refilled. And the refilling never stops, or rarely stops, or unlikely to stop. It's like the flow of water, the flow of silver and the flow of gold, just letting you know. So Tombstone, Arizona, where they were so wealthy, they had an oyster bar in Tombstone, Arizona. They had libraries, private libraries you would pay to go into. They had all the luxuries of the wealthy in that town at that time. And that left for a lot of, for a good place for someone to set up a mob type organization, a gang, or a group of cowboys. So that's what the word cowboy meant out west. It meant you were probably going to be trouble. So let's look at the Brett S1. Now, this must be Brett. Okay, I know what Brett this is. There are two Bretts. I know which one this is. Hello, Brett. Hello, Sparky. A ring never plugged a hole. That's true. Hello, Killer. Hello, Judy. Push. So that was really interesting. But I do want to bring up something else that I know. Let's do the fun one first, okay? I do want to bring up something. Oh, by the way, the channel has been demonetized. I'm not that upset about it. There are other companies that provide that service, and we can go there, and I could do $1.99. I checked, and I only found $2.99. Maybe there was $1.99. Going through those menus to become a member of a channel is somewhat easy, but you got to remember to scroll because there's always something else. Oh, Mrs. Ross Love is in the house. So let me get rid of this little video down here. And let's bring in, there we go. Oh, let's bring in the other one. Sorry, I can't get, there we go. All right. Before we get into the flat earth proof, guys, just let me tell you this. The globe theory was introduced in 1410. 1410. That is 19 years before Columbus discovered America. I believe. Was it 1429 he discovered America? It ends with a 9. That I'm sure of. That idea was reinforced in the early 1900s by the same. Now, let me remind you that the globe theory of 1410 was created by men who took mercury as the cure for syphilis. Okay? So the only thing I'm going to debate or be able to show you is science from last week or last month or last year versus science from 1410 when men were taking mercury to cure syphilis. And all it did was kill them before they went crazy. That's all it did. So that again, we'll touch that later. What I want you to see here is everybody, one person said to me, and I thought they were joking, but they weren't. I thought there was only one Bigfoot, like there's one Dracula and there was one Frankenstein. No, they estimate right now that there are 3,700 Bigfoots in North America alone. And there are 4 types that are, and here's the proof in the pudding. No one has ever, if you look at type B2, it says B type 2 with the big almond-shaped eyes. Now, that son of a bitch has big, giant canines. And that type, B type 2, only gets reported to the BROF. It's a free download. You can download a site. You can see on a map where all of the reports were, and you can click on them, and you can read the report, and you can read the follow-up by the BFRO investigator that is associated with the app. So you will never see, and there is nowhere ever in the world has there ever been, and I've listened to thousands of encounters, a type B type 2, the bottom left-hand corner, ever reported in Washington, the state of Washington, which there are, and you'll notice all of the reports are always in the exact same spot, along the exact same river, in the same mountain range. It's not like they're spread out evenly across the globe. So it's easy to track where these things are going. But the B type 2 is the most dangerous, and that's the one that will just tear you apart because you're there, is located everywhere between East Texas and Florida. So if you're running into a Bigfoot in Florida, you better get the hell out of there. Okay? Type A1 is quite a bit the same. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the one next to it, the bottom. B type 3 is ultimately the same, but I cannot comment on the locations in which those have been found. And the one in the upper hand corner is a little bit more simple, the A type 1, but you're really most likely going to run into an A type 4, and that's your best bet because they're going to walk you out of the woods opposed to killing you. They will flank you and scare you. There was a woman that has videos and pictures up of her. I don't even believe she saw the Bigfoot, but something hurled a basketball-sized rock at her face and hit her. And she was a mess. And that's what they do. They try to come hit your foot or hit right next to you. So that was an unintentional injury by a Bigfoot, unless she was in Florida. But if she was anywhere in the north, it's 100% chance that Bigfoot did not intend to hurt her, but just get her the hell out of the woods or away from that area where his family is nesting. So they are very frickin' real. They've always been really frickin' real. They've never not been real in modern history. What they are and who they are, I can't argue that. I have no evidence. Anything I would say would be based on my feelings. But factually, there are 4 types of Bigfoot. They all exist in North America, and they're very freaking real. Okay? This is reality check night. Maybe I misnamed stuff. Maybe, I don't know. So I can assure you, download the BROF Bigfoot app. And Alabama is not a place you want to run into a Bigfoot there, Judy, as I'm reading most of what I can because of all the colors on the screen. They're real. Now let's go to some crazy ancient science. Let's watch a video. I'm going to turn my microphone off. Some unfactual science that we've been fed.
So, we're just here at the cockpit. Hello.
It's no
So,
research.
the world is flat.
The world is flat.
Confirmed.
Completely flat. Completely flat.
Yes.
And ice wall, what's beyond the ice wall?
You get to that, and if you go down, and then gravity works in a different direction, so when it rains, it doesn't fall on the floor, it falls
Is there
upwards.
another world beyond the
Yeah,
ice
yeah,
wall?
yeah.
Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, he flew 1,200 miles with the wind in his back into the inside of this planet. Not a molten core, far from it. Continental shells bigger than on the surface, seas that were equal to ours, and he took 300 photographs and brought them back, and I tried to see them, and Franklin Birch, who was at the National Archives, would not let me in. Oh, I got in the cage, but I couldn't look at anything. Caldwell found those records and read them in 1940, and he took his round-wing plane in and went right through the Earth and came out at the South Pole in a 125-mile opening there. That's one thing he did. I told you that was 1940. That was a great accomplishment of the round-wing plane at that point. We hadn't had to fight a war. We hadn't had to do anything. 1952, I hesitate to tell you. I've had 3 attempts on my life, and I don't know if I'll walk away from this meeting if I say any more. I've had the needle, I've been poisoned, and I've had people sent to kill me.
Up. Okay, I had a problem here with removing this video. Okay, let's go here. When you're looking here, if you see on the hour dial is the sun. And just in front of that is the moon. What's it look like? 4 hours ahead, the moon's cruising around in its trajectory around the globe. Now, here's the weird thing. What you're looking at is actually the NATO's, is it NATO's flag, or it's the world, what's that world, not the World Economic Forum, but the really bad ones that got offices in Colombia or in Colorado. The map itself is exactly their logo. Where all the countries meet together. Why is it skipping my brain right now? Where every country is represented and Donald Trump goes and talks there and tells them off. UN, that's it. Thank you very much. So this is the UN symbol. And there's no reason why a guy can't go into a hole and come out the other side underneath oceans and such and come out into the white snowy part on a flat surface. It's just a real deep flat surface, deep enough to have a tunnel in it. Now, the other morning I posted a video of me at 7 a.m. showing the moon. Oh, and ironically, another strange thing, if you take a picture of the moon and overlay it, but flip it 180 degrees, this particular map will match up perfectly with all the shadows on the moon, the dark spots. Except for over in the left, there is a big giant continent that we haven't visited yet. And it's really easy to hide an entire continent on a flat surface than it is on a globe if everyone's allowed to access the whole globe. If your radar tells you don't go that direction, which happens to be the direction of another continent on a flat surface that we have had not a reason to go fly over yet, then it's easy to hide a whole continent no matter what's going on there. But that's my explanation for the reason for the extra dark spot on the moon. And I'm only saying that because all the other dark spots match up with continents on Earth perfectly. Once you find South America in the moon, get a picture of the moon, use your iPhone to flip it 180 degrees upside down, and then look for South America. And once you see South America, then you see North America, then you see Europe, then you see Russia, and everything just pops right out at you. It's really, really easy. So in 1910, a family called the Rothschilds, who were about to fund heavily Adolf Hitler's eugenics research, and they were the number one across the board donator to the Nazi cause in World War II, donated 2,000 globes for all the classrooms in the United States. That was very nice of them. 2,000 globes to be spread across the United States, so all the children can learn about the globe. Now, if you live on a globe and you're looking in a telescope at other planets, it's easy to think that you're really insignificant in this world. And then what you do and how you think and things you say don't really matter. But once you realize you're on a flat surface, and the chances of those little things out there that we're calling planets are any more than light reflections, like if you ever seen a star close up, it's just a series of blinking lights. You know, it's not a solid object. It doesn't look anything like the moon. It looks like some kind of orb, changing colors. Ironically, staying in the same space. I can't explain it. I can't explain the extra continent, but I can explain that once you realize you're on a flat plane, you realize your significance on the planet that you live on, that this is it, and what comes out of me affects everything around me. And the better person I am, the bigger the true picture of the good things that I do and how it reflects on others, opposed to just thinking I'm on a globe and giving $5 to a homeless lady who's probably going to buy booze. You know, my actions, that it's not just me giving $5. If I'm on a globe, the lady's going to use it on alcohol. If I'm, in a flat plane, my outlook is going to be better because I believe I'm a bigger influence on the planet itself. Being on a globe, I have no influence on the planet. On a plane, we all have a significant, for our square footage anyway, for the quarter mile around us, or the half a mile, the third of a mile around us. What we do affects everything around us, and it counts. Because God said the earth was flat. God said that there's a firmament. And he was telling the truth. The guys in 1410 were idiots who were taking mercury to cure syphilis and then coming up with an idea for a globe. And then the number one donator to the Nazi Party, not only starting the pharmaceutical industry, but a couple years later, putting the globes in every single classroom. Who are you going to trust? The Bible or the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers? Where are you going? Like, is the science from 1410 better than the science from last month, where a man stood in St. Joseph, Michigan, and used a camera to take a picture of the skyline in Chicago, when the skyline in Chicago should be 8 miles below the surface of the round curvature of the earth? I don't think it's 8 miles, but it's like you barely see the top of the buildings with the curvature of the earth. So, because there's a scientific explanation that for every mile you go out, the earth's surface curves and you lose 6 inches of view at the bottom of the plane. The bottom of the plane cuts off 6 inches or 8 inches every, I don't know if it's 6 to 8 inches every mile. I don't remember but there is the people who told us it's a globe also came out with math to tell us exactly how much earth falls off the farther you go out. And by their theory, we should only be able to see the tops of the tallest buildings in Chicago, not the whole freaking thing in Cars on the Highway like we do when we take a camera. And there was one camera, the only camera that could take that picture from St. Joseph to Chicago was discontinued, and it was the #1 seller at Canon. That's true story. You can no longer get that camera. If you go into the flat earth world, they talk about that camera all the time. They talk about it not being available. There's not one of these cameras that sells for less than their original sticker price new, because people want them, because they could take a picture from St. Joseph to Chicago and you could see the cars on the street. A Van Halen skateboard. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're not playing here, bro. I made that. I painted that. I did the whole thing. I just bought a wood color board. Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet, bro. Oh, bro. 5150, baby. Yeah, and that's the exact. If you look at it, if you pick up an Eddie Van Halen guitar, oops, trying to move that picture down there. How come it doesn't let me? Now I opened up another menu. I can't teach an old man new tricks. Anyway, it is exactly on the 5150 guitar. It's an exact reproduction, but it's squeezed together because the board's real skinny. But every line you see here, you're going to find in the exact same spot on the real thing, the 5150 guitar. Everything is exact. So, OCD maybe. All right. I'll put her down there. And I used to have every single one of these ever made. Well, up until the original series, which was like 429. Anyway, so flat Earth we're talking about. Are we? We're stuck on that. Yeah, we're talking about the plane, the plane from not the curvature not actually happening like they said it was. The sooner you get on boat, if you're a Christian, then you shouldn't even need to question it, but it does help if you have an explanation for what's happening. So the clock that you see down there is actually from the Flat Earth Dave. Now, the Flat Earth Society is actually a CIA website, and all of the information on there is false, and it only was created so it was easy to debunk Flat Earth. And it's definitely 100% a government-sponsored website. We're assuming it's the CIA. But when you track ownership and you do it through the Wayback Machine, they found out it was a government agency that owns the Flat Earth Society. So you don't ever go there. It's always the first thing that pops up on Yahoo and Google. If you put Flat Earth in, you get Flat Earth Society at the top every time, and it's all bullshit. But the Flat Earth Dave app, which I think is $1.99 or $2.99, it leads the Flat Earth Dave's videos. And each one of them is a science experiment, and each one completely destroys the 1410 theory that we're living on a globe. I'm in Oklahoma, and when I look in the directions, it's definitely flat. That's funny. That is funny. I got to get rid of this damn thing. Here we go. It's driving me crazy. I could just make it smaller. There we go. No, yeah, there we go. That way I can read your comments. Abretta says, I have a set alt on plane base and B pressure to get me to sea level. Oh, yeah, that's right. He's a pilot. Mirror on your screen. Oh, that sucks. I don't know how to turn that off. So anyways, I just wanted to plant a seed. I'm not trying to convince you all in one setting that this is not a planet, but it's definitely not a planet. And once you accept that, the feeling of freedom that was set upon me was beautiful. It was truly like took the most weight off of my back that I've been carrying. It's just like I got to dump all this, like, perceptions of what matter kind of changed. Just like that video I put out of me being 18 years old and watching a rock star follow the law. The rule of the road is never get off the bus when you're on tour and you're a rock star. If you're clean and you're sober and you're married and you got a family, the rule is never get off the bus. And Rudy Sarzo went straight to the bus directly after the concert and had this beautiful encounter with this young woman stricken with Down syndrome. And when she walked away, I watched Rudy Sarzo put that flower in a vase and put it on the table. And I was like, wow, I'm 18 years old, and all of a sudden the guitarist for this gigantic rock band, this like worldwide epic band that everyone knows, is running out of the other backstage door into a car with a gorgeous 25-year-old Asian woman in a rusty two-door Honda hatchback. And all of a sudden, in that moment in time, I wanted to be like Rudy. I didn't want to be like that guy getting into that car, because I just saw something more beautiful than is ever going to happen in the backseat of the Honda hatchback in about 15 minutes. That's the feeling that's equal to the feeling that I felt when I realized it's a flat earth, that it's not a round earth. Your soul has been telling you since you were a child that we're not on a globe. As soon as they explained that to you, you knew they were lying. Trust your younger self. Your 5-year-old inside of you is saying, don't be dumb. Sparky says, what do you catch with the pocket fisherman? Well, if you watch the video, I caught myself in my manly parts, and that was real. I wasn't even at the water yet, and I actually caught the hook on my manliness. Lucky I was wearing sweatpants, walking to the lake to make the video, but I actually moved that footage to the end of the video. By the way, if some of you are here that weren't here before, we are no longer monetized. It might have had something to do with my comment of YouTube putting one of those Wikipedia links where they are fact-checking the video uploader, and I said, why do you keep pushing your partisan commie opinions upon others? Why don't you just let this person speak without trying to prove them wrong with the biggest joke on the internet, Wikipedia? Something to that effect. 4 hours later, I'm demonetized. And I'm demonetized while I'm trying to raise awareness for a fundraiser for people who don't have shelter tonight. So, you dance with the devil, you get what you deserve. But we will be remonetizing off-site. And we'll be bigger than ever. We'll be $1.99. All I need is 100 Explore America people to say, hey, I'm in for $1.99. I got you covered for half a gallon of gas, big boy. That's all I need. That's all I need. This ain't about making money. God has taken me out of the poverty I was in when I started this channel. I'm not rich. I'm in the same place, driving the same car. But the intention is to have numbers, not dollars. So anyways, Judy says, get on a plane with a pocket. Oh yeah, that's already a test. That's on the flat earth. You could actually just take the words right out of what Judy said and plug them into the search bar, and it'll pop up. And Rodolfo RMD0303 says Rodolfo Maximino Sarzo. You know his whole name? Wait. Yeah, that's his whole name. That's his real name. You know Rudy? He's got a great channel on Facebook. He posts every day. I just found it. RMD is, yes, I just figured that. How fast do they pump all of the fuel into those jets? Do they really need fuel to fly? Nikola Tesla may not agree. Amen. This is Ross Marley. I think we're going to end there. I think that's a good one. Dear God, please remove all of the spirit demons that are within the sound of my voice right now. Satan, stand far back. The Lord Jesus Christ is in control of all of the area in which you can hear my voice and farther. There will be no evilness in any of these homes. Thank you, Jesus Christ, for dying for our sins. The devil can never convince us that you did not die for us. Amen. All right. Hope some of that ghost action stops in some of your houses now I heard about earlier. Peace and love worldwide, y'all. Live your life before your life lives you. Christina says thank you. And over and out. And I will be posting the bad part. The good part about losing the membership is I've got a lot of really good videos in the membership that I'll slowly put out over the winter. Later, y'all.